Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to Poem Praise 2, and peace and blessings be upon you and your family this afternoon. Now, what I have for you this afternoon, we are going to go ahead and get into Lies My Teacher Told Me by James Lowen. Currently, right now, we're going to go into take number 5 of chapter number 3, The Truth About the First Thanksgiving. Now my little bracelet fell off, but anyway, we're going to keep it moving, right? Now for take number 5, we certainly are going to get into this take. I'm not going to hold you too long, okay? So without further ado, are you ready for it? Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into this take. Henry Dobbins has put together a heartbreaking list of 93 epidemics among Native Americans between 1520 and 1918. He was recorded 41 eruptions of smallpox, 4 of bubonic plague, 17 of measles, and 10 of influenza, both often deadly among Native Americans, and 25 of tuberculosis, diphtheria, typhus, cholera, and other diseases. Many of these outbreaks reached truly pandemic proportions, beginning in Florida or Mexico and stopping only when they reached the Pacific and Arctic oceans. Disease played the same crucial role in Mexico and Peru as it did in Massachusetts. How did the Spanish manage to conquer what is now Mexico City? When the Christians were exalted from war, God saw fit to send the Indians smallpox, and there was a great pestilence in the city. When the Spanish marched into Tenochtitlan, I'm going to spell that for you. I might have just messed that word up, but I'm going to spell it. Here it go, y'all. It's Tenochtitlan. When the Spanish marched into that, there were so many bodies that they had to walk on them. Most of the Spaniards were immune to the disease, and that fact itself helped to crush Aztecs' morale. The pestilence continues today. Miners and loggers recently introduced European diseases to the Yanomamos of northern Brazil and southern Venezuela. I got it. Killing a fourth of their total population in 1991 alone. Charles Darwin, writing in 1839, put it almost poetically. Whenever the European had trod, death seemed to pursue the aboriginal. Not whenever. Yeah, let me repeat that. Reiterate that. Wherever the European had trod, death seems to pursue the aboriginal. Europeans were never able to settle China, India, Indonesia, Japan, or much of Africa because too many people already lived there. The crucial role played by the plagues in the Americas can be inferred from two simple population estimates. William McNeill reckons the population of the Americas at 100 million in 1492, while William Langer suggests that Europe had only about 70 million people when Columbus set forth. The Europeans' advantages in military and social technology might have enabled them to dominate the Americas, as they eventually dominated China, India, Indonesia, and Africa, but not to settle the hemisphere. For that, the plague was required. Thus, apart from the European and African invasion itself, the pestilence is surely the most important event in the history of America. The first epidemic wreaked havoc not only with American Indian societies, but also with estimates of pre-Columbian Native American population. The results have been continuing controversy among historians and anthropologists. In 1840, George Catlin estimated Aboriginal numbers in the United States and Canada at the time of white contact to be perhaps 14 million. He believed only 2 million still survived. By 1880, owing to warfare and deculturation, as well as illness. Now I'm going to spell that deculturization. DECUL, TURATION, as well as illness. Native numbers have dropped to 250,000, a decline of 90%. In 1921, James Mooney asserted that only 1 million Native Americans had lived in what is now the United States in 1492. Mooney estimated was accepted until the 1960s and 1970s, even though the arguments supported it, based largely on inference rather than evidence, were not convincing. Colin McEvey provided an example of the argument. The high rollers, of course, claim the native numbers have been reduced to these low levels between 1 million and 2 million by epidemics of smallpox, measles, and other diseases introduced from Europe. And indeed, they could have been. But there is no record of continental European population being cut back by the sort of percentages needed to get from 20 million to 2 million or 1 million. Even the Black Death reduced the population of Europe by only a third. Note that McEvey had ignored both the data and also the reasoning about illness summarized above, relying on what amounts to common sense to disprove both. Indeed, he contended, no good can come of affronting common sense. But pre-Pilgrim American epidemiology is not a field of everyday knowledge in which common sense can be allowed to substitute for years of relevant research. By common sense, what McEvey really meant was tradition. And this tradition is Eurocentric. Our archetypes of the virgin continent and its corollary, COROLLARY, the primitive tribe, subtly influenced estimates of native population. Scholars who viewed Native American cultures as primitive reduced their estimates of pre-contract populations to match the stereotype. The tiny Mooney estimate thus made sense, resonated with the archetype. Never mind that the land was, in reality, not a virgin wilderness, but recently widowed. And I'm going to complete this take right there for approximately like our 10-minute read for take number 5. So stay tuned for take number 6 here on Poem Praise 2. But before I let you go, I would like for you to hit the like button, share, subscribe, and if you like, certainly go ahead and hit that notification bell, and you'll know when I'm coming with something new for you, whether it be a read, a poem, a musical message here on Poem Praise 2. So I want for you to be well, to be safe, to take care, and it be at thy will. I'll talk with you soon. From me to you here on Poem Praise 2. Till next time. Later, y'all.